Hi there, my name is Nicholas, CMO and growth lover at Upthrust. You're listening to Rocket Talks. This is the podcast where I talk to marketing leaders and growth experts to fuel your next marketing campaign. Hello and welcome to a new episode where I invite other marketing leaders to talk about pressing marketing issues and how they see marketing. Today I invited Laurent from MobieTrain. Welcome, Laurent.
Thanks, Nicholas.
So maybe can you quickly, for our audience, explain who you are, what you do, and maybe what MobieTrain is as well?
Yeah, so my name is Laurent. I'm from MobieTrain, and MobieTrain is practically a performance enablement platform. So we service customer-facing teams, or really companies who have a lot of customer-facing teams, like retailers or companies in hospitality, to really create their own employee and communication app to create a memorable customer and employee experience. So that's practically what MobieTrain does, and we're a SaaS business, so it's software as a service. So that's also a very specific ecosystem.
Yeah, a lot of buzzwords there, if I can say. Can you make it super concrete? Like an example of a company that used you, how they would use it, and what would be the benefit of that?
Yeah. For example, we have the VF group, brands like Timberland, Vans, but also maybe closer to home, companies like Decathlon.
Yeah.
And for example, when you're a Decathlon employee, you are working in a store, for example, as a retailer. You need to know, of course, there's a lot of different products, sporting goods, but also like swim gear, hockey gear. So on the one hand, you need to know a lot about the product, so really the specifics, but also how to handle a customer complaint, for example, or when someone comes to you, they have a question, how do I handle this? What's my selling technique, etc. So that's more concerning retail. Another vertical where we're focusing on is hospitality. So then we're more looking towards food chains, but also hotels. And there's some clients that we have. For example, in Spain, Seguia is a sushi chain, let's say. In Italy, Livieta is a pizza chain. So really brands with a heritage, where also the employees need to know about, where is my brand coming from, let's say, and they also need to express this towards the customer. So really create the experience. Retail and hospitality are really two focus verticals.
Okay. And then the employees, they use the app to be trained on how to bring that experience to the customers, to get all the product knowledge, to bring the best possible experience to the people that are in the store, right?
Yeah. So we use the E3 model, let's say. So it's educate, enable, engage.
Okay.
That's what the platform is really about. So educate speaks for itself, with really an application that is branded by the company. And the employees will be informed about not only product knowledge or the topics that I just said, like customer experience, selling techniques, but also, the enable part is then that it just makes them feel better about their job, and also, facilitates their job, because when you know more, and that's more, a lifelong learning vision, and MobieTrain will help to engage or facilitate the information that they have to also really put it into practice in the field. And then the engagement part, so it's again educate, enable, engage. So the engagement part is then more for the company. How do I keep my employees really engaged on the content that I produce in the platform? And the combination of those three makes a case for performance enablement.
Okay, interesting. So now let's talk about the marketing. It's a SaaS business. At which point did you join the company?
I joined MobieTrain October 2020.
How big were they then?
The marketing team back then was like, we were with 3 real marketing specialists, let's say. I came in as a coordinator back then, also in graphic design, and also people that were working on the content part, so for clients as well. So a bit of a time, not full time, but so that was like we were with 5-ish people, let's say. In those 2 years, of course, we scaled.
How many customers did you have the moment that you joined?
I think we were back then at 30, 40 customers.
Okay.
And now we're plus 100 customers worldwide as well. So
Okay. How did you go from 35 to 100? Because that's where you came in the picture and where you helped put the strategy bit in place, execute the right things. So how did you go do that? How did you go from the 35, which I assume was initially what we see with SaaS, network from the founders, network of the sales, making sure that people they know start using it. But then once you hit that threshold, it's often difficult to scale it to that first real 100 companies that are a client.
Yeah.
How did you do it?
Yeah, of course. I'm looking at the team. It's not about me. Of course, there were also a lot of things already in place, but we really needed to take when I came in was also like I was the first full time, let's say, on marketing. So that was really indeed, as you said, like the starting point. A lot of the branding was already done where there was like a good basis. But what we wanted to do then is really also scale the team. Like, okay, which roles, really look at which roles do we need to scale. And we started our home, let's say our home business was Belgium. So that was our home market. Then we scaled, I think a few months later, we went to the Netherlands. Then beginning of 2022, we went to Spain, Italy. Now we're also in France internationally. So that was the beginning situation. And how do we get to come back to your question? How do we get from 35 to 100? Is really the strongness of the team and also the external expertise. The external expertise from growth agency like you. I worked already a long time with you, or with Upthrust. So it's really the combo of those two, of the people that work for the organization, for MobieTrain, with the external,
I'm very happy that you say it was the people, because a lot of times when you ask people, okay, how did you do it? We've used this kind of ads, we use this, but I agree that in the end, it all comes down to hiring the right people, having that strong team that can then execute the ideas that can come internally or externally.
Yeah.
But the growth is really in the execution and making sure that you are able to execute well enough.
Yeah. No, and also I think the innovation and the speed with what we moved forward in marketing, just in the marketing ecosystem as well, is to have those people that are adaptable, that are flexible, and also top them with external expertise. But it's really in execution. That's also how you need to mold your team, or mold your team. Hire for example, you have someone who is very analytical. And in another country, you have someone who is more creative or more into social media, for example. But in our company, like we have quite a remote marketing team. But that's also where all these things add up. Like there's like, okay, everyone is responsible. The marketing specialist is responsible for their own country in a way, but they also have side projects where they can play their strengths. So. For example, when it's a social media project, it's not because you're responsible for Spain, let's say, that you only need to focus on driving MQLs and driving revenue. You also get like the side projects, or we look at, okay, what makes you think, like what are really the projects that you get your energy from, and also guide them or make them the lead in those projects, because that's the sustainable way that we drive marketing projects.
Okay, very interesting. So what you're saying is that you don't have really a fixed growth marketing team with fixed roles and they can only do that. People have different specialities and then they can also work together on those things.
Indeed, the let's say the roles are clear. So the KPIs and the deliverables, let's say, are clear. For example, especially for a marketing specialist responsible for a specific country. But on the side, they also have the autonomy to bring new projects and to be proactive and to really to bring out projects or bring projects to the table where they get their energy from. Because again, that's a sustainable way of driving marketing.
And if you are doing a growth meeting, coming up with experiments, prioritizing, is it only the marketing people that you invite, or do you also invite sales?
It's more so indeed that we have at the start of the week, so we work in sprints, let's say. Start of the week, we have our beginning meeting, and then at the end of the week, is a shorter meeting. That's more a recap meeting, like, okay, did we make our deadlines and like an overview of the week, and also look forward or forecast to the next week, like, what are the projects that are in the pipeline? So that's one.
And who is in that meeting?
That's really the growth team. So the marketing specialist, HQ specialist, performance marketer, graphic design. And then along the week, it's really on the question is then, okay, what project is it? Because we also collaborate a lot, of course, sales marketing alignment, also very relevant topic.
Exactly.
But also customer success team, we have a really close interaction with, because even sometimes more than sales, they really have, the client's needs and the client's challenges. They really even sometimes know it better than sales. I mean, it's really like this collaboration between all the different departments that we try to facilitate. And sometimes it's utopia, or don't know how to say it. Like that's really the ideal picture, that we want to stimulate that coordination, especially in the remote team. Sometimes it's a challenge, of course. But that's really what we aim for, the collaboration and the communication between all those teams to get really the pain points, the challenges, to get that into your marketing.
Yeah, that's often really when I tell them, okay, we need to make a team where then customer success is involved, sales is involved, because you need those insights. A lot of times I see that they are working in their silos and that marketing is generating leads, they're giving them to sales. Sales is not closing them because they say they're not hot enough. Marketing is then mad because they give leads, but nothing is doing something with it. So I think the way that you then try to have them bridge together is really how it should be. Can you maybe give some tips for companies that are in that situation where they have customer success team, a sales team, a marketing team, but that they feel like the communication is not as streamlined as they could be, and that there could still be potential wins by collaborating better? Do you have some specific tips that you could share with those kind of teams?
Yeah. It's a really simple one, but a lot of them is in the words and the communication. So what we did is not name them sales team, marketing team, but really get them under the umbrella word of growth team. So
love it.
Yeah, indeed, it's again, it's a buzzword. It's something very simple.
No, but it's perfect.
It's really it makes you some sort of a community. It gives you the same purpose. It gives you the feeling that you have the same purpose. And if you start from that, all the other things will follow. You will not create, for example, okay, you have your own marketing hub, let's say, where you commute at the weekly meetings, for example. But we really have a growth team, sales, marketing, customer success in there. But everything that's shared, that's commercial related, I mean, that's already a shared vision and a shared topic. That's people, I think about, okay, what is customer success thinking about at this moment? Is it for us as SaaS, G2, for example? We collaborate a lot on different projects with, for example, customer success. So it's very simple, but that's the starting point for us to really create that vision inside the company. We're not these silos, as you put it, but it's really about working together towards your revenue goal. And of course, there are individual aspects. Sales, they get commission over deals they make. In marketing, also, for example, a bonus structure when a group level, when a KPI gets reached on group level, let's say. That's one. And two, again, on the targets, is to have like this shared target, the shared KPI, that you move a bit away. They can still exist, like commission-based things, but that you also like create the feeling and also make it some hard facts, like this is the group revenue goal that we are working towards. You can split it up in brand awareness, lead gen, etc. So
can we put it that for you guys, you have that revenue goal, which I guess is annually recurring revenue that you're looking at, that this is really your OMTM, your one metric that matters, that everyone in the company has to work towards that goal? Because for customer success, they can influence the annual recurring revenue by making sure that their clients remain happy, that they stay loyal, that they maybe upsell. Sales can be needs to push for that because they need to sell more things. And then marketing is super involved because they need to generate demand for the pipeline.
Yeah.
So is that how you look at it as well, that you have that one thing as your OMTM that unites everyone?
Yeah, I think in SaaS you have these it's some magic numbers, but I think it's much more complex than that, because you already said like customer success is more, okay, we want to decrease churn, for example. We want to keep our clients that are in our ICP, we want to keep them on board as much as possible. And of course, in the end, upsell, cross-sell with all the features of it.
But that immediately has an impact on the annual recurring revenue.
Yeah, indeed. So ARR is one of the top metrics that it's one of the top KPIs. But it's complex. It's more complex than that. Every department also has their own goals, of course, and the ARR is indeed one of the top metrics, to put it in that. But that's in theory, and then practical. When you think about it practically, there's a lot more to it than just the ARR that like gives you the superficial thought. Maybe we're doing well, but if your customer service is lagging, for example, or the product is lagging, then you can have ARR now, but tomorrow, you can go out of business, so to say.
If I can translate it completely to growth marketing theory, can I say that you have that OMTM that's of course very important, but that you then on each layer of the pirate funnel, you also break it down on different metrics that you measure and that need to be in place. For example, for your retention, that you have metrics in there that you measure churn in your retention phase and you measure your upsell. Your acquisition phase, that you measure your amount of MQLs. Your revenue, you measure the amount of contracts closed. Is that how you look at it? That you break down per phase of the funnel your metrics, so you have your pirate funnel metrics, but in the end, these pirate funnel metrics, they help to reach that OMTM, that big thing that we all want to go for.
Of course, it's also a complex thing in these days. Marketing, you have a lot of ad tracking options in terms of lead generation, lead attribution. But this day and age, also with podcasts, with webinar, you cannot always word of mouth. Those are like channels that you cannot always track with attribution software. So you can also make the wrong conclusions on that side. So that's already one. So attribution software, those are metrics indeed that we track, and that we also try to look at them with a sort of business sense, like, okay, what do we see in the market? And there, your alignment with sales, with customer success is so important, because only the quantity is not always, then you don't immediately get the quality and the quality answers. Also a good example on that is when we have a demo request form, it's very simple fact is that we use an open text field on how did you hear from us? Because it could be that someone comes in via your SEA campaign, but they just they clicked on it, but they already heard your podcast, or they first converted on your podcast that you didn't know, or they talked about MobieTrain with a relative, for example. That's of course, those KPIs are in place, but we look at them with qualitative information, with things like that, with talking to customer success. The second thing is indeed the pirate funnel. We track indeed leads, MQL, and then in our deal stages we have different options going from introduction, discovery. So it's thematic model. Let's say it's a sales model that we use, indeed over the month and even over the weeks we see how many leads, how many qualified or marketing qualified are those, and then we really track it down towards the different stages in the funnel. And that in the long end you also look at your marketing spend, really lead generation, brand awareness, so the budget that you really use for those topics, and then you get your cost, and if you can see it month by month, if it's increasing, decreasing. You can also talk to the team and they can see for themselves, like, am I doing a good job? If you combine that as well with website traffic and metrics like that, like your LinkedIn following, if you see those increasing, you can have a good view on am I doing a good job? If that's not the case, the numbers speak for themselves.
And can everyone in your organization see the numbers all the time?
Of course, again, it's sometimes complex, especially in the beginning, because that's also data hygiene, let's say. We use Upthrust as a CRM. So it's shit in, shit out. So of course, the data need to be qualitative. We also use a lot of different marketing tools, and also with guidance from you guys, for example. So you really need to make sure that all that data flows in a structured way in your CRM, because you can make dashboards and create dashboards as long as you want, but if it's not the right data in there, so that's something that's a constant challenge, and you need to be constantly aware of, like, looking at your data. Is the process in place? Is it scalable? Is it also clear for everyone in the organization what the definition is, for example, of a lead, of an MQL? Because when you start hesitating, or when you start using different definitions, then the tracking becomes quite irrelevant. So that's something that we're really try to be aware of.
But what I also like is that you also take your entire marketing budget, your entire marketing spend, then check your metrics like introduction meeting schedule, demo scheduled, whatever. And then you also just calculate how much it costs per that generated. Because lately there's been a lot of discussion about attribution, because every channel wants to fight for the attribution, of course. And like you say, is it then because of the podcast? Is it because of this? Is it because of that? I don't believe that it's because of one thing, like you say. I believe that people need multiple touch points, and it's by introducing these multiple touch points that they will eventually convert. So I'm also a strong believer in, on a strategic level, you should make decisions by bringing your entire marketing budget, seeing what comes out of there, how qualified they are, see if you're moving the right direction, and then use the specific channel data to analyze, is this a channel that I should put more money in or not? But in the end, it's, does my mix work? Does my marketing mix work?
Yeah. No, indeed, what we also learned from the past years is that those touch points, and that we learned it from a SaaS benchmark, which was done by SAP. And indeed, that the minimum of 24 touch points is necessary to convert one prospect, especially in our business. Our sales cycles are a bit longer than average. But indeed, that's a very important part. The combination of different channels and the multi-channel approach, or the omni-channel approach, let's say, it's to create as many qualitative touch points as possible to make conversion possible as well. So definitely, that's definitely something that we're constantly working on, and that's also again where your growth approach comes in place, your alignment with sales and marketing, because the old approach is like, okay, marketing, you go to an event, bring me leads, but now it's more about, okay, no, you work together, you look at the market, you see what the ecosystem is all about, and then you start creating demand. You want hand raisers; those are then the leads. And with your content, you really try to qualify them, segment them into your ICP, your persona. I mean, it's the whole drill. And then you get your hand raisers, and then still you can qualify. They can be non-qualified still. It can be, for example, in our case, it can be if it's a student, then it's indeed non-qualified, but the company could be qualified. And then there are also other activities in place, that the nurture flow that we then use, for example, could not be the person could be hired eventually and could grow, so we keep on nurturing them, for example. That could be the case. So we really put a lot of stress on the omni-channel approach. So in our case, it's LinkedIn. We also use Salesforce for outreach, so sequence building over a period, like mailing, calling. In a way, you have all these tools. There's also something that's living like in our sales team. The thought, you have a lot of marketing tools where you can analyze, where you can do outreach again. But in the end, also the old approach works, which is sending mails and making phone calls. So to include those steps and to combine the best of both worlds is also something that we see now, is that still that calling step, even with all the tools that are existing at this moment, which is really like, it's a forest of tools. That calling step, which is really traditional, we still include it, and we still see high conversion rates on that step.
If you were to start again, you are now hired or you start your own SaaS, which are the channels that you would first invest in? No, you don't have infinite time. You have very limited budget, limited time, limited people. Which channels would you invest in first?
Channel, of course. I also read something, content marketing is not a channel, but the first thing, of course, is to really be really sure on your segmentation. So the first thing you need to know is who am I talking to, because otherwise it's like you can make the link towards a football field with no goals. I like the because then you're just running around the field, you're shooting everywhere, no one knows the rules, like, okay, when is the ball out or something. So you really need to make sure first, what is your goal, what is your target audience, and then you have someone to talk to. Then you create your personas, then you create your content. So in my case, it would be
Content first.
Content first, and then when you really talk about channels, for us, it's in B2B SaaS, it's LinkedIn, because they are our decision makers. That's where they are, like where they read content, where they interact with other people, where also, of course, a lot of outreach is done, and just content creation, thought leadership. So to really be with your specific content towards talking to your ICP on that channel, on LinkedIn, for example, to name one, that would be like the first scalable.
Yeah, interesting. And would you go for organic content posted on the founders and the sales and marketing people? Would you go for company content on the company page, or would you go for sponsored and paid content?
Yeah, I think the strongest one, that's what we also see in terms of when you look at the numbers on our traffic on our website, you really see that direct traffic has the best numbers. Maybe not in from a non-paid view. So of course, when you put a lot of money in SEA and in Google Ads, then the traffic will rise.
Yeah, but if we stay on LinkedIn, and you need to put your content, you want to distribute your content. Are you going to use the company page? Are you going to use your personal page? Or so the personal page of the founders and sales and marketing people? Or are you going to use them going to push them through ads?
Yeah, again, I think it's a combination, but to be a bit more bold on your answer, what I think is the strongest, and then you're also, I'm referring back to the direct traffic, people that heard somewhere from MobieTrain, they stay the longest, the bounce rate is the lowest on your website. So, and again, linking to the calling step, which is more the most personal one of them all, because you're talking to a human being. So my answer would be it's a longer approach, but my answer would be to really use the personal pages of your CEO, who is then in our case also a thought leader, who has experience in retail, in mystery shopping. So he already has his basis and his network on that side, is to really play on your own people. And then again, in the beginning of the podcast, referring back to your own team and your own people, those really make your culture and the expertise that they have, and the combination of the expertise to really get that externally to your audience. That's the strongest. And then of course your company page is more also thought leadership and more general topics that you can do, that you can track via keyword research and just talking to customer success. What are the challenges? What are the topics that they are thinking about? What keeps them up at night? That you can also put on your general page. But before that is really people link with people, and not always the company is related, but to me, doesn't, to us as a team, it doesn't come in first place, and that's something that we still want to increase, of course.
A very interesting answer. Before we round off this episode, are there some final tips that you can give to SaaS companies that want to do growth marketing, that want to experiment more? Do you have some specific tips?
Yeah. Again, the team, I think it's to really analyze who is in your team at this moment, and also what market you're in, what you need.
What do you do when you see that there's a hole in your team, that you're missing a specific content writer, or you're missing a specific ad person and it needs to be filled? What do you do?
What we do now, of course, then we look at external sources for the time being to also win some time in a way, and to hire for someone for the long run, or really to have someone on your payroll. So that's also when an external agency comes in handy, like for example, like we do with you guys. We always have like this backup plan, let's say, not only on a day-to-day basis because we work together, but also with Upthrust, we also have like this vast this vast amount of experts. So we can it's like a bit of plug and play. So when we see that there's indeed someone leaves the company or just makes an internal shift to another role, then that comes in very handy. Especially it's just history shows us in our case that that's something that we can always fall back on, and that's really really like.
All right. So the first tip for other SaaS companies is the team. Make sure you have a good multidisciplinary team. With common goals, with clear communication.
Yeah.
Do you have two more?
Yeah. No, indeed. I think the second one is not the internal team, and you can also make an external team part of that side. Second thing I would say is to really have that omni-channel approach, and it's also more a recap answer, but to really have those touch points in all aspects of your funnel ready. Also have one clear message. I recently talked to this business coach who said who was a CEO and then a sales leader for companies for one company, but it was also active in different countries. And he said okay, in one country, for example, in Finland, he said our company was perceived as a database platform.
Mm-hmm.
So the marketing communication was completely different in for example, Finland and in France, for example. And that was also where the complete alignment went wrong a bit, because when you are perceived in different countries in different ways, then people don't get it. So another tip is to really have your communication very simplified, that and also drill down to your vision, what you say, the words that you use in your email, the words that you use in your demo presentations, so that everyone just speaks one and the same language, so that the message is very clear for people to understand what do you do, and that it's always also consistent with everyone in your company. That, for example, one salesperson doesn't tell a completely different story than another. Then someone.
And more importantly, that marketing doesn't tell another story than sales.
Yeah. So that's more the alignment part. So team alignment. The multi-channel touch point was also a point. Then I'm looking.
I think this is already super.
Yeah, I think those were really the three that we are, especially in this phase of our growth, that we're really focusing on. But in the end, indeed, I think focus is on people. And I know it's a cliche, but in the end, it comes down to that. It's really the quality and how you do the follow up to have clear goals, clear vision, clear communication. That's what we're working for, and to have fun. To have fun, do it while doing it. I think that's also a very sustainable approach to marketing.
That's amazing. If people want to learn more about MobieTrain, where can they find you? Where can they find MobieTrain on?
Multi-channel. just Google us, and then you'll come in the right tracks. No, of course, MobieTrain.com. We're also posting a lot of content on our LinkedIn. So just type in the search bar in LinkedIn MobieTrain, and you come to our company page with also all the different thought leaders that we have in the company. Those are the content is widely spread over website and LinkedIn would be my first answer. So, and start from there, and then
perfect.
Guide yourself in the different tracks, let's say.
Perfect. Laurent, thank you so much for your time. It was a very interesting talk. I didn't expect that we were going to go so deep in team, but it is so many interesting insights that I think a lot of SaaS companies should take note of. Yeah, should really start thinking like this. So thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Also, thank you for watching this episode. If you think this is interesting, we have a lot of other episodes where we talk with other CMOs, other marketing leaders. So feel free to subscribe, follow us on socials, and I'm sure I see you in our next episode. Ciao.